Hello, shooters, loaders, and casters. Welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection Friday Night live stream. We hope y'all had a good week. Thank you all for joining in with us tonight. Hopefully, we got some subjects that will be interesting to you. And as we always put our topics, or try to, in the description on the YouTube side, we hope that you bring your topics and questions in as well. Hillbilly, how was your week, brother?
Oh man, pretty good. I did some exercising. I wasn't planning on it, but doggone it, that game warden showed up out of nowhere. So, but other than that, pretty good.
Had to dig a hole, did you?
I mean, you never know. I mean, like I told that game warden, I mean, you see coyotes and rabid possums and all kinds of stuff. Sometimes you just got to run. No sense sticking around being a victim. So,
yeah, well, that's what pig farms are for, dude. Just saying. Mr. G, how was your... Good. Anything else that you did?
My week was pretty good. Busy at work as always, man. Scooping more brass, sorting more brass, stocking primers, stocking powders. Just so much, man. We had so many orders right before the election. It was crazy. Man, we had a pallet stacked over 6 feet tall, a 4x4 pallet over 6 feet tall for an order one day. That's a lot. Boss told me the totals, and I was like, "Oh, you want to pay my car off for me?" But nah, it's good to be here tonight. We got a really interesting subject. I got something good for What's Hot Pot Got. And man, ready to get on with the show. What about you down there, Pat? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Just up to a little bit of this right here in the old frying pan. But other than that, man, I'm doing good. Just did a wood stove video and all the pieces and parts that I use with it. And yeah, it's raining. Thank the Lord, because we were drier than a bone. But yeah, so I'm happy. I can't complain. So, Viejo, how are you doing, man?
Well, I'm doing really good out here. Really good. We had some good stuff happen Tuesday night, and California flipped 10 of our 58 counties from blue over to red, which was a miracle in and of itself. So we did some joy dancing in the morning. Joy cometh in the morning. I heard that on the internet. Anyway, yeah, I got to the range a couple times, and I got some casting and some reloading and some shooting done and some socializing done and all of those good things that a retired gentleman such as my own self ought to be doing with his time. So I'm happy to be here tonight. I appreciate the invitation as always to take part in this, and it's good to see you fellas out there in the side chat as well as in the panel. Mr. Andy, 79Z28. How's life out your way?
Not too bad. Long Island, we killed it for the voting. The numbers were off the wall, but of course we got like 5 counties and 6 counties in New York State that are so blue, they have no idea. But we won anyway. Anyway, hello everybody in the side chat. Glad to be here. Good week. Roof was done on my house last weekend, so that's out of the way. Now I'm just waiting for the solar company to put the panels back up. That'll be next week. got my new scope mounted on the Rossi. If you haven't seen the video, and it shoots lights out. Anybody who saw the video, and I love the scope. I just pick it up and it's right there. I think the biggest issue I had is the scope I picked up originally was probably more for a pistol because the size of the tube was pretty small. So, but the one I bought is made by a company called Vico, Viiko. It's on Amazon. It's like $72. It's a 2-7, 44 millimeter tube. I'm glad I bought. They had a mount I bought. I'm glad I did because they don't have any rings that size. I wasn't paying attention. And the back of the scope is sitting right at the edge of the ejection port on the top of the Rossi. The bullets eject great. I wasn't sure if my cheek weld was right in the basement. It didn't seem right. It seemed I needed a little more height, but I said, let's go to the range, which I did Wednesday. Picked it up, and it was right there. And just have to sight it in. First, I have to dirty up the barrel. So put like 20 rounds of old wad cutters through it. Then I did some Berries wad cutters that I loaded up. They shot pretty good. And then I went to the stuff that I know shoots good. The Zinkers Type 3 wad cutters. Walter will be showing us a video soon. And those things shoot lights out of that gun and my Dan Wesson. And that's about it. It's been a good week. Work's been busy. Great election. Can't ask for more. And
I noticed watching some of the coverage that even the deep blue areas weren't quite as deep blue this election. I think she underperformed, but we won't get into too much politics, except for that we are extremely proud of what went on Tuesday night, and glad here.
I think we need to all pat ourselves on the back a little bit because our team, and I'm not talking about just us folks right here, but the red team did a lot of advertising and getting out and beating the bushes and talking to people and trying all our YouTube channels, talking about, hey, come on guys, get out and vote. And I think that really helped. I think we helped spread the word, and I think people realized that this was an opportunity that we could not let slip through our fingers, and by gosh, we didn't.
I was lucky. I like talking with my neighbors and stuff. Some of them were first time registered. And they didn't know where the places were. I said, well, I'm going early voting Saturday. It opens at 10 o'clock. Who wants to join me? 4 people.
Nice.
First time voters. So
yeah, but somehow we still missed shy of over 20 million votes from the last election that was given.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I don't know. I mean, I
guess all those dead
people getting out to vote last election that didn't this election kind of seems weird. Which last election was our biggest ever turnout in history. So
imagine that. But I do want to say this: that was a really pretty red dress Jill Biden had on. It matched Joe Biden's Trump hat.
We had quite the exchange going on in one of our private chats, and we won't we won't dig into that. There was some things said that probably shouldn't have been said, but they were funny as crap. So, and but tonight we want to talk about Skeeter Skelton, and I did a little bit of show prep, just a little bit. Y'all know I don't do a lot of show prep, and I think that's obvious. There's Garen Wilson. What's going on, buddy? But I have a video queued up if y'all would like to see it. Now, this is a little bit longer than the ones that we showed last week, but it's about 8 minutes. If y'all want to see it, say so. But it's very very biographical, I guess is that a word? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
It is if you said it. That's how we claim it around here. If you can say it, it's a word.
Yeah. And if it ain't, we'll get it added to the dictionary, right? All right, let's watch this and learn a little bit about Skeeter Skelton, and then we shall discuss.
Welcome to Vintage Firearms with LT Arms. This episode we feature pistol aficionado Skeeter Skelton.
Charles A. Skeeter Skelton was a Texan, a cattleman, a veteran, a federal agent, a sheriff, a competitive shooter, a handloader, a raconteur, a gun rider, and most importantly for the shooting sports world, a handgun man. As he once said, "I count myself among the luckiest of men that I have spent my life with the things that fascinate me most, handguns." Born in the panhandle town of Hereford, Texas in 1928, Skelton came up in the Depression, an experience which colored many of his writings and reminiscences. His first introduction to shooting was at age 5 with a .22 Colt Woodsman pistol his father carried in his car. He would be allowed to shoot at roadside targets from the window of the car and would often stop and have a try when he spotted a nearby jackrabbit. A little later, he was allowed an occasional few rounds from his father's Smith & Wesson .38 Special revolver. By age 12, he was working the local farms driving tractors and earned enough one summer to buy his first Colt single-action Army. The Colt revolver would become a mainstay in his life. As he said, "From that first Colt single-action grew my great affinity for that grand old gun, a favoritism not necessarily shared by all my readers and friends." During his teenage stint in the Marines, he carried a 1911 .45 ACP. In the early post-war years, he hunted with Colt single-actions, Smith & Wesson K22s, and even snub-nosed .38 Specials. In 1949, he joined the Amarillo, Texas Police Department as a patrol officer. He carried the Colt single-action chambered .45 Colt, which brought some amused grins until he demonstrated how well he could shoot with the old thumbbuster. In the early 1950s, Skelton hired on at the U.S. Border Patrol with the last of the horseback patrol squads. He fired thousands of handgun rounds both on duty in the Arizona desert and as a member of the sector pistol team. He won many competitions in those days, and his pile of medals was testament to his handgun expertise. In 1956, he left the Border Patrol and returned to his hometown, where he was elected sheriff of Deaf Smith County. His continuation of handgun experimentation and handloading study continued in earnest during these years. In 1959, assessing that the numerous gun periodicals weren't publishing articles on police guns or handgun hunting, Skelton warmed up his typewriter. His first article, a piece on hideout guns for plainclothes policemen, was purchased and published by Guns Magazine. The next article he wrote was a criticism of the then popular Western quick draw craze. Guns passed on that one, but he sold it to a magazine called Gun Sport. From that day forward, he sold every article he wrote. Which was a good thing, because in 1960, opting to not run for re-election for sheriff, he tried his hand at the cattle business. He soon went bust when the bottom fell out of the beef market and was forced back into law enforcement as a narcotics investigator with U.S. Customs in Eagle Pass, Texas. While working 60 to 70 hours a week for them, he kept up his gun writing pursuits. In 1966, he sold an article on the 9mm cartridge and pistols to Shooting Times magazine, which ran in the July issue. His first assigned feature on the .44 Special ran the next month, and within 1 year, he was made handgun editor for that excellent publication. He held that position until his passing in 1988. He kept his day job for 8 more years, retiring from the DEA in 1974 to devote all his time to his writing. Skelton became one of the most popular and widely read gun writers in America. His musings on all things handgun ran the gamut from technical articles to humorous reminiscences. His writing style is eminently accessible, and reading Skelton feels like listening to an old compadre telling a story around a campfire. Some of his most popular articles, while still completely centered around handguns, were focused on the characters within them. The Me and Joe stories were built around his Depression-era childhood, with himself and his best pal Joe Bishop getting into all sorts of shenanigans. He created a character named Jug Johnson, who wrote into the magazine looking for information on some six-shooters he'd inherited. Much hilarity ensued each time Jug would pop up in Skelton's column. If you've been in the gun game any length of time, you've encountered a Jug Johnson. Another one was a composite of real friends in Skelton's life. The character Dobe Grant, an irascible old gun-hoarding Texas cattleman and World War II vet, was cobbled together from at least 4 real-life characters Skelton knew, including Colonel Evan Quiros and famed border agent and pistolero Bill Jordan. Though he often voiced his admiration for the .357 Magnum, with that August 1966 feature article on the 44 Special, he is widely credited with bringing it back into vogue, and it featured prominently in his articles for many years. Coincidentally, 1966 was the same year that Colt and Smith & Wesson both ended production of guns chambered for the grand old cartridge. See, the 1957 arrival of the .44 Magnum had overshadowed the old Special. Nevertheless, it didn't take long for most handgunners to realize the Magnum could be a literal handful and difficult to control with its significant recoil. Skelton was not immune to the attraction. In 1957, he was carrying a 5-inch Smith & Wesson 1950 Target 44 Special as his duty weapon, and he replaced it with a 4-inch revolver in the new chambering. He quickly found the new cartridge too heavy and too powerful for police work and went back to the Special. It is around this time he developed a 44 Special hand load that has become known as the Skeeter load. It is the 250 grain hard cast Lyman 429-421 bullet over 7.5 grains of unique. Developing right at 1,000 feet per second, this bullet, designed by Elmer Keith, is impeccably accurate and suitable for any big game one might hunt with a handgun. Recoil is far less than full house 44 Magnum rounds that clock nearer 1,400 feet per second, yet it has been used to punch very effective holes through animals as large as elk. Perhaps the most thorough and accurate account of Skelton's bringing the 44 Special back is covered in a dedicated chapter of John Taffin's book of the 44 caliber. The 44 Special is special indeed, and the Skelton load is perfection in a 6-gun. It is perhaps the most powerful and effective handgun cartridge that is still enjoyable to shoot for most folks. With several years of Skelton's published affection for the 44 Special, Colt and Smith & Wesson reintroduced revolvers chambered for it in the late 1970s. Bill Ruger, a close friend of Skeeter's, said he wouldn't do it as it's easy enough to shoot specials out of Magnum chambers, so why bother? But Skeeter persisted and convinced him. Today, Ruger is the only company still making runs of 44 Special single-action revolvers. Skeeter Skelton's written works are a window into a time long gone and are still as popular today as they were then. He was a terrific writer with a conversational tone that appeals to all. Old copies of the magazines in which his columns and features appeared are available on eBay. Though he never authored any books, 2 volumes of his collected works were published in hardcover: Good Friends, Good Guns, Good Whiskey in 1988 and Hog Legs, Hip Shots, and Jalapenos in 1991. The 2 books are still available on the collector market, and one should expect $150 to $200 each. A Shooting Times feature magazine in 1980 titled Skelton on Handguns also appears from time to time and can usually be had for under $100. Another fine book to seek out is I Remember Skeeter, a volume containing some of his favorite articles, but mainly dozens of writings and letters penned by those who knew him. The book was compiled by Skeeter's wife, Sally Jim Skelton. Though his career was not nearly as long as many of the other notable 20th century American gun writers, Skeeter Skelton was one of the greats of the genre. His contribution was significant, and he will live on in history as one of the finest gun writers to ever ply the trade, a handgun man through and through. As he once said, "If I had known early on what a fascinating path handguns were going to lead me along, and the intriguing experiences and people I would encounter, I might have hurried. But I'm not prone to hurry, and I've been able to savor every shot I've fired and every friendship I've made."
It almost gives you chills.
Good stuff.
I thought so. Such a fine. That's a video by LT Arms, and I wish I knew how to get in touch with him to thank him. But yeah, Skeeter passed away way too soon. He was only 60 years old, and I look around and I'm thinking, I'm older than that now. And but the medical establishment wasn't as quite as slick as they are now. So we didn't have things like open heart surgery and stuff like that. Well, it was 1988 when he passed away. So we did have some of that, but it wasn't near as perfect as it is now, or perfected. Not that it's perfect, but thank y'all for watching that. And Edward Petty enjoyed that video. Thank you, brother. So did the Rebel. Skeeter loads are famous, guys. He's got a whole book of them, right, Walter? I think it's called Pet Loads by Skeeter Skelton.
Yeah, you can come up with just about any 240 to 250 grain bullet for the 44 special, over 7.5 grains of unique powder, and a large pistol primer, and go for it. And it's going to run at about 1,000 feet per second, like they said in the video. And his original one that he developed was that Lyman 429421 mold, and that one is still it's a favorite cast bullet design that just about anybody who shoots a 44 with cast bullets at least knows about that one. And it's just a pleasant round to go shoot. The only problem today with it is the unavailability of unique, but you can use other powders with that bullet out of a 44 special. But that's the Skeeter load, a 240 to 250 grain bullet and 7.5 grains unique. You can't go wrong with it if you've got the unique. It's a good one.
Yes, Glenn Davis, we're talking about Skeeter tonight. If that's all right with you. Guns and Water said he always read Skeeter first.
He had a lot of stories. They talked about his Me and Joe series, and there was a couple of others, that were kind of tongue-in-cheek stories that he would tell in the shooting times. And he had all these characters. I haven't subscribed to Shooting Times in a long time, but I did for quite a while. And it was always kind of the first thing you'd turn to was to see what Skeeter had to say. And he had a lot of good articles. I was just for grins, Jamie, when you sent out the email about the topic tonight, I jumped up on eBay to see if any of those, there's 2 or 3 books that were written about him. There were compilations of his stories, and they haven't been published in a long, long time. And they're going for like $150 for used copies. I go, holy cow. Yeah.
Same with Hell I Was There by Elmer Keith. You can find one of those for $100. You need to grab it because you can double your money on a book like that.
Yeah.
And if you've got an autographed copy of Hell I Was There,
you ain't letting go of that.
No.
But that's an interesting pairing between Elmer Keith and Skeeter Skelton, 2 of the greats in our handgun history, came together over that Skeeter load. And it was Elmer Keith who gave Skelton that load. He said, "Here, try this," with this 429-421 bullet design. And Skelton ran with it and published a lot of articles, about that load.
Glenn wants to know his full name. Let me see if I can find that.
Gosh, you know what? I don't even know right now either.
Charles Allen Skeeter Skelton.
There you go.
Born May 1st, 1928 in Hereford, Texas. Died January 17th, 1988.
Yeah.
In El Paso, Texas. So he did not make it to his 60th birthday. He was 50.
Yeah. He was still writing right up to the last.
Yep, he was the editor of their handgun section of
Yeah, shooting times.
And guys, back then it was a different world. I think it's no coincidence that guys like Skeeter Skelton, Elmer Keith, Bill Jordan, uh, all those guys, as we've studied these guys and talked a little bit about them, we find that they knew each other, and they certainly knew who each other were. And Bill Jordan and Skeeter Skelton both worked for the Border Patrol, if I'm not mistaken, and they obviously knew each other from living in Texas. And
Yep.
GGW, I hope that you will tell LT Arms that we used his video. We talked about him. We played his whole video on Skeeter Skelton on the show, and it would be awesome to get him on sometime.
Boy, wouldn't it? Yeah.
So there's Walter, Coach Brothers Firearms. What's going on, buddy? Long time no see. Glad you're here. But yeah, those Skeeter loads. All right, I've got a question, and I wish CW was here. Hopefully, he'll be in later. Mark will also be late tonight. Oh, he meant his channel, not the actual guy. Anyway, so yeah, that was a good video. You want to count us down, Walter?
Are we ready?
Yes.
On 3, 2, 1.
Hey,
Mario.
West Coast weirdo.
Old Battle Bean himself.
That's him.
Banner man.
Mario had a couple videos out this week. Hadn't seen too much from him in a while, but he got a couple short ones. If you guys haven't seen him, go over and listen to Mario talk about the election results. He was happy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Walk says Bill Jordan was born in Louisiana. I think he's going to be next week. Walks.
Yeah, those guys. You know, and Skelton himself, with all of the background that man had, he spent a year or so in the Marines, and then he went into law enforcement, and he was with DEA. He was with Border Patrol. He was a sheriff in his county a couple of times. I think he went in as a patrolman, then left to go into cattle business. I forget. It said something about that in the video too, and then came back and ran for sheriff. And so he had a lot of experience, and so he knew from where he spoke. And I think people realized that. They paid attention when he started talking about handguns.
Not just that, you saw all those medals.
Yeah, good shooter too, obviously, right?
Yeah. Yes. So I need to go look up some. I wonder how many of his articles are actually published on the internet. I bet you could find a ton of them. Anyway, back to my question. If you're going to load that Skeeter load and you have a 429, 421 mold, does anybody in here have one of those?
I have at least this many of them, including the hollow point version.
I have two.
Yeah.
That's what I've got.
Yeah, it's if you shoot 44 special or 44 Magnum and you're a caster, you got to have that bullet. It's one of the best. I mean, there's other ones out there. MP's got a pretty good one too. Their 4.32 640 is a good one for 44 special. But the Skeeter bullet, even though he didn't design it, it's the one that he started the whole Skeeter load thing with. it's pretty hard to go wrong with that. If anybody asks me, when they're want to start casting and I shoot 44 and I want to learn to cast, what mold should I get? That's the one I tell them.
Well,
and you can find them used all day long, on eBay. They're out there.
Elmer had a load for 44 Magnum with that bullet,
Yep.
sitting on top of 22 grains of 2400.
Mm-hmm.
And I loaded that at 20 grains. I mean, the range is pretty wide, obviously.
Right.
And so I loaded at 22. I loaded at 20, still giving me room to go up. And those were some of the first rounds that I shot out of my Marlin 1894 44 Magnum. And Gene was with us, and I don't know if he got to shoot any or not, but
yeah, I did.
Man, those were ringing steel we had like a 6-inch plate at 60 yards, and out of that lever action, it was boring regularity.
Yeah. I haven't loaded any in 44 Magnum in a long time with the 429 421. My load was closer to a maximum. I used 22 grains of 2400 for a long time with that bullet. You cast with linotype, and mostly I think why I don't shoot it now is I'm too cheap to cast with linotype. It's too expensive compared to rain scrap, wheel weight type alloy that costs next to nothing, and it's easier and shoot it in a 44 special too. It's not so hard on the arthritic old fool that's standing behind that 29.
Try some zinc.
Yeah.
It'll lighten the recoil a lot.
No kidding.
Yeah, it will. It's unbelievable, guys.
It is. I shot well, and I've shot I won't say quite a bit of zinc, but once Andy got me started casting zinc a number of years ago, I shot quite a bit of 38 special with zinc, and then he sent me a couple of 38 rounds here just a few weeks ago, and I've shot both of them, and it's like shooting 22. And down at the lower end, amazingly enough, the same powder load for a lead bullet and the zinc bullet will send them out at about the same velocity, real close, amazingly close. You would think that at those lower ends that you might be sending that zinc bullet out a lot faster, but in the 38s they don't. The Lyman 358432 wad cutter in lead and in zinc with 2.8 grains of bullseye within just a few feet per second of each other. But the zinc one, you weren't even sure it got out the end of the barrel. You almost wanted to go look down and it can come out there. They're really light recoil.
That'll help you with that 44.
So our brother Alabama Reloader's out there, and he's done some work with his 270 lately. See if I can find him. And I would encourage all y'all to go check it out, because y'all all know that 270 Winchester is the finest cartridge in the history of the world. And I ain't kidding. It really is. Walks Fletcher said, I bought my first Colt single action Army in 44 special because of Skeeter. Well, also Walks Elmer Keith's number 5 revolver, the custom made revolver that he had built, was in 44 special as well. And Mike Hester says my 45 Colt load is 250 cast with 7.5 grains of unique. And G23 said Mark Thomas is the best leather holster maker on YouTube, in my humble opinion. I won't argue that, but I will say that Skeeter Skelton used El Paso Leather Company. And I've got some pictures of that somewhere. When Mark gets here, I'll show the pictures of some of his. Well, actually, what it is a revolverguy.com tribute to Skeeter Skelton. He had a couple of pictures, a couple of pistols, revolvers made up. And
I need to go find me a revolver and 44 special. All my 44s are 44 mag. And which is fine in one aspect. I mean, you can shoot the 44 specials at them, but you get a carbon ring that you got to go deal with. And if you shoot 50 gas bullets and 44 special or even jacketed bullets, and then go try to shove a 44 mag in there, it might not go because that carbon buildup at the end of the 44 special case.
yeah,
Had that happen before, and so you got to get them cleaned out. It's just part of the deal. If you're going to shoot specials out of a mag, that's what happens. But
yeah. And last week, the rebel Mike Hester was telling us, and he proclaims 270 people. Ugh. I can hear him say it. I can see him rolling his eyes right now. So, yeah. Thorzak says HS6 or AA7 will give you equal results that unique does. So that's good to know, man. And
yeah, like I was saying earlier, I've started to use a little bit of power pistol, and you can get pretty good results there too with lower pressure, actually, even than with unique.
There you go.
Walks has that statement copy pasted and ready to go at the beginning of each chat. I know he does. So all he has to do is click paste. 629. Yeah.
629's awful nice. I've got a lead on one, and I'm going to be tracking it down. Walks. 700X or Clays works well in 44 special. You guys are awesome. So, what about this? It's a particular thing that Papa's place. Don't apologize for being late. We're glad you're here, brother.
Hey, Papa.
Can't get here on time. Get here when you can. We're glad to have you. Dang Walks. Y'all made me forget what I was talking about. Oh, my question. So if you're going to run that load, the Skeeter load, and 44 special, and or 44 Magnum, and the answer to this question is going to be different. I know. How hard do you want your bullets?
For 44 special, I'm doing really well with wheel weight hardness alloy. That's up to that velocity of 1,000 feet per second or less, powder coated. Traditionally lubed, a little bit different, but those work fine. If you're going to work with hollow points, then you got a different ball game you got to play, to get at a velocity that's going to work. But I got no problems with wheel weight alloy. Brunel hardness of 10 or 11 seems to work good for me.
And my handgun bullet mix is right around 11 to 12. I tested some today. Now, for the Magnum, I would say you probably need up to about 14, 16, maybe. Rifle hunting bullets, I'm thinking. I'm still thinking 14, 16, somewhere around in there. Because you don't want them so hard that they don't expand. You want to transfer that energy.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys are taking game with handguns, guys, with handguns and shooting big animals, elk, deer, mule deer, and stuff like that with handguns and dropping them deader than a hammer.
Yeah, it's a big, heavy bullet.
Yeah. Walk says 20-1. That's going to be, that's going to be right in that 11 to 12 range, I think. Yeah, walks. Don't we all wish we had one of those? The 624 is the in frame 44 special with the pencil barrel. Coach says 8 to 9 with powder coat. That'll work. You want that expansion. And yeah, I'd get that, buddy. 629 for 6 1/4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a steal, brother.
Mhm.
Those are anywhere from 850 to 1150 most time when I see them. If you can get a 629 for 6 1/4, that is a worthy investment.
And Tommy Boy says you don't need it to be as hard if you're powder coating. I've found that to be true too. And again, just like Tommy Boy was saying, I use that same wheel weight hardness alloy with 9mm, even though it's a higher pressure. But that alloy that I use is, for those kinds of rounds, is range scrap with just a little bit of tin extra added into it to help the molds fill out a little bit better. And it runs right around 10 or 11. And I have not had any issues with running that in 9mm, which we're up there at, 35,000 PSI or something. 44 special is going to be lower than that, but.
Michael Dunn's bailing out, hitting the hay, going to be getting up about 3:30, 4 o'clock, go climb in a stand. And good luck, bud. Go get you a good one. And if we're going to talk about that, I'll talk about it. Ozzy ordered the Taurus 44.
Yeah.
M44, which is basically the same design as the Smith & Wessons, if my understanding of the situation is correct. Okay, it is 8:45 on the East Coast. Today is November the 8th. And right now, where I'm sitting in the northwest corner of Georgia, it is 69 degrees. We had a high of 82 today.
Wow.
The overnight low was 61. So y'all have to forgive me if I'm not getting up early and drudging out into the gnats and chiggers to go try to kill a deer. So I guess Pat in the bunker had to go eat that chicken he was frying up earlier. Good night, Glenn. You have a good weekend too, buddy. There you go, Tex. 49 degrees in the morning. That means it's going to get up over 60 before you get a deer in the cooler, buddy. Yeah. Mike's got the same thing.
Pretty warm.
Too warm to hunt. Now, next week, we're going to have some morning temperatures in the 40s, probably high 40s, and then highs in the 60s. So I'll get out next week. There's MCK, my brother from another mother. What's going on, man? Hope you're doing well. You got a link if you want to jump in here, Mark. If you ain't too busy. And earlier on the side chat, Milsert Duo was out there.
Well, I didn't see him in there.
He was.
Did he come and go?
I hope he's still out there, but hold on, I'll tell you. He was talking about he had hurt his hand.
Oh,
Yeah, he's still out there.
okay. Hey, Milsurp.
Or at least his name's popping up while I'm typing it in here. That make me think he's still out there.
Well, it's probably time to call out the side chat anyway, isn't it?
Oh, we done blew right through that talking about Skeeter Skelton. It's almost time for Gene's thing. I'm showing 38 out there, and I've got something in mind.
Okay, what's it going to be?
You tell me.
Well, I'd have just said Skeeter, but oh, there's CW.
Name's popping up. Hey, brother.
Hello there. Sorry I'm late.
Two of them. Can we do that?
Can we do which?
They already putting in.
They're already in there. All right, here we go.
Yeah. Skeeter's good. I like G23's 44 special. I was just going to say type in 44.
Yeah.
But that's good. So G23 be look at that.
Yeah, I just got home, so she's looking for attention.
Yeah,
Hey, Ellie.
and walks, and he's as bad as Walter. You got to rub in that California weather. So we got G23 in first with 44 special, which is what is a good one. Bobby Barlow's out there. Edward Petty's out there. Tim S. is out there. Walter's on the panel and in the side chat. Andy 79Z28 is on the panel and in the side chat. Alaska 1 Andy. We got Michael Dunn's out there. Tactical Fudd reloading from the hot pots on the panel as well. Mike Hester.
Lay down.
There's Garage Guy 879.
Lay down.
Got another big game coming up this weekend, I believe. Tommy Boy's out there. Papa's Place. Tim S. 01 Guy. Dwayne 7834. Reloading from the hot pot. Independent Arms is out there. Good to see you, brother. GGW. Ron 2A Matters. My brother MCK. Not Skeeter Davis, even though it may be the end of the world for some folks. Trees of Blowing's out there. Good to see you, brother. Kyle is out there. Walks Fletcher says Skeeter rules. And Yukon 454 is out there. Dang it, man. Mark almost got him a good one. No, we didn't, Milsurp. Why don't you send me an email at jh586sw@gmail.com? I'll send you a link if you want to come in and tell us about it. And I think that's all. Oh, Thor's axe. That's terrible, man. So, yeah, if you want to send me an email, or you can tell us right there in the side chat if you don't feel like coming on. But if you want to come on, we'll be glad to send you a link. So, to CW, we've been talking about Skeeter Skelton. We showed a nice video, and I know you used to read a lot of the magazines.
Oh yeah. Read a lot of his stuff.
Back in the day, we didn't have the internet, and gun stuff wasn't on TV that much. I mean, there were a few shows, but
Yeah, there was no outdoor channel because there was no cable TV or anything like that. And I know a lot of folks grew up in a family where they had a family member as a mentor. Not me. I had to learn everything, from reading books and the magazines. That's how I learned, to get started in reloading and casting both. Was from reading printed material.
I don't know if y'all noticed it or not, but in one of the pictures in that video, Skeeter was holding a book looking at it, and it was a reloading manual. I forget now what brand it was. Did you notice that, Andy?
Yeah, I saw him holding the book, but I don't know what brand it was.
Sierra.
Okay.
You talk about Skeeter's kid there, Bart, who's become quite a celebrity in his own regard. And
Yeah,
he's
a writer too.
Yeah, he's a writer too, and he's getting up there and either retiring or just retired as well.
I think one of the things that shocked me most was how young he was when he died. He hadn't made it to his 60th birthday yet. I did not know that he had a son who was a writer.
Bart Skelton. Yep. I don't know where he writes. I know he's on Shooting Times occasionally, but he's probably, in a number of magazines.
So Garage Guy, Virginia Tech plays Clemson at home, but they've got injuries to deal with. .44 Special is the best defensive round out there, according to Dave. I can see that.
And a revolver is really top of the shelf, yeah.
Yeah, like we were talking about earlier, a big, heavy bullet, a CW type me-plat bullet, nice wide me-plat going at 900 to 1,000 feet per second is going to stop most things that are coming towards you.
They give you a 195 grain round nose for your 357.
Forget now, is it this 358-667? I can't remember the name of the model number for the big 190 grain round nose
430
38 caliber bullet.
358-430.
That might be. That's a round nose.
Hip breaker, hip cracker.
Yeah.
That's
the one that I had used a lot for casting zinc for 38.
As our friend Charlie used to call it.
358-430.
There you go.
It's only 119 grains in zinc.
It's a big long bullet, to put it into 38 special. I shot him in 357.
357, you got to load them short. The load data is wrong. It sticks past the cylinder end. And in 38, you can load them longer. At least for me, that's how it worked out.
Let me go back up here for a minute.
Well, I sent you those. Didn't I send you those? You shot them in your 35 Remington, didn't you?
Yes, I did, and I liked them so much I went and bought me a mold like that. I had some that CW sent me and the zinc ones that you sent me. And I bought the NOE mold, which is the exact one that CW had. And give me a second. Forgot what I was looking for. There it is. Yukon 454 deer opener tomorrow, 243 Encore pistol. That should get it done, buddy. Whitetail, West Central Minnesota. Welcome to the panel.
How we doing? How we doing?
Hey, Millsap.
How you doing?
Well, as good as I can.
Hold on a second.
So, got a giant that, and then on the palm. So
You blew that open, didn't you?
I did. I had a 9mm discharge into my hand. So,
Ow.
yep,
No fun.
it was not, and I have the pins to prove it. It came out of the hand. So these were. Let's see how well they'll show up. These were the 2 pins that were in my hand. So,
Oh boy,
So
that's not even fun to even look at.
no, they're not. They're not. So yeah, they ran on both sides of the pinky here, all the way down into the muscle, and it completely obliterated the bone down here. And so, but you got some decent movement. So that's all that matters. But
Man, dang, I hate to hear that. What happened?
least-
You figured it out yet?
so I know exactly what happened. I had bought a new gun the day before, and it was the exact same model. And I carry Glocks, and so I bought a Gen 4 Glock 17 for a new truck gun, home defense gun, for a really good price. I forgot I had decided to start using one of my Polymer 80 builds as a nightstand gun, which is of course Gen 3. So I want to check the slide, make sure the slide fit on it, because I was going to send it off to get some work done. Drop the mag, complete brain fart, forgot to rack the slide, pulled the trigger, went through the palm, and blew out the bottom of the hand.
Ooh.
So, yeah, it was something you learn from, and I thank the Lord it was my hand and not the inside of my legs. Because if it would hit one of those arteries, I wouldn't be here.
Could have been bad.
So, but no, it's making some good progress, that's for sure. And I don't think I'll ever have full range of motion in the pinky, but as long as I can squeeze stuff, like I can take a pin and squeeze a pin all day long. So that's a good sign. But
Oh no.
that's like I haven't reloaded, I haven't shot, I haven't done anything, and that happened mid-August. So I haven't done anything.
You guys are, man, I hate you having to go through that.
It's all good.
It's an honor to have you on with us. I think have you been on here before? Maybe once.
It's been a while. I think I was living back in Illinois still the last time I was on.
I think so. We need
Yeah,
to get better.
I've been in Kansas. It'll be 2 years in March. So
I think I have that 358156 mold.
You do.
If CW, if you and Walter remember me telling you about one that had some rust on the inside,
I think so. Yeah.
that's the one. I think I'll find that tomorrow.
It's a good one.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, Reloader 762 sent me some of those, and I've yet to try them out. But now that I'm loading up so many 38 and 357s, that's going to be next on my list. There he is right there. Just as soon as I was thinking about him, he pops up. Gas check hollow point.
Yeah, I got that. I think I have that in a hollow point too. A Lyman mold.
I know I don't. Mike Hester wants to know, Nick, if you recovered the bullet.
I have not. So what had happened? It exited the hand, and it actually never exited the house. So the funny thing is, because I didn't call 911, a neighbor called 911 for me. When the officers arrived, I of course give them permission, enter the house, stuff like that. They went in there. Then they come down to the ambulance and ask, "Did I discharge 2 rounds?" I'm like, "No, I clearly as day can remember only discharging 1 round." So what had happened? When it exited the hand, hit the king stud of the window frame and bounced back into the room.
Uh-huh.
So the bullet's somewhere in my room. Haven't been able to find it yet. Have no idea. And I've searched high and low. I've done the pencil trick, trying to figure out the trajectory. Nothing. I've hit a dead end. If I find it, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it.
I know what I'd do with it.
Melt it down again, shoot it.
Yeah.
Well, it was a hollow point, so there's probably not going to be a lot in there anyway.
No wonder it blew the hand apart like that.
Yeah.
If it was a full metal jacket, it'd have made a nice clean hole.
Exactly. Yeah, the hollow point. It really did its damage. Even though it's close enough, it's not going to do a ton of damage. But
let me grab something. There's our brother Dave Thorzak's giving you well wishes.
Thank you, sir.
Hey guys, I'm going to bail out of here.
Good night, Andy.
Everybody,
Good night, Andy.
have a good weekend.
We're glad you made it.
Not Andy.
Take care, everyone.
I found them. One of the reasons I want to show these off is not so much that I got the mold and I actually cast some, but I got a couple of issues and wanted y'all to see what I'm dealing with here.
What? What? What do you want? I got nothing.
CW, you were absolutely right about my problem being the temperature of the molds, nothing else.
I wouldn't lead you astray.
I know you wouldn't on purpose, but and I know you know what you're talking about. So let me grab a pair of forceps. 1 second. I think we're late. We are. Gene, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Anytime.
We'll deal with this in a minute. If I can make my too many clicks. There we go. It's time for What's Hot Pot Got?
I laugh every time you say that, Jamie.
I love it.
Well, in honor of Skeeter, I pulled out a Hornaday 44 Special nickel-plated case. We do see some of these come into the shop. At the moment, we do have some 44 Special available for sale. You probably have to call in because it's probably not listed on the site. But if you'd like it, call in or send an email, and we can hook you up with some. I have been sorting quite a bit of it lately, and we had a really good batch come out of Colorado. those guys in Colorado got some bucks because we find some really good stuff. But the 44 Smith & Wesson Special is a smokeless powder centerfire metallic revolver cartridge developed by Smith & Wesson in 1907 as the standard chambering for the New Century revolver introduced in 1908. Its parent case is a 44 Russian. I don't see many of those come through. I've seen a couple, but not many. The bullet mass type for most of these is a 200 grain semi-wad cutter hollow point at 870 feet per second, a 246 grain lead round nose at 755 feet per second. And we know we can push it harder than that. On the late 19th century American frontier, large 44 and 45 caliber cartridge were considered the epitome of handgun ammunition and for self-protection, home defense, and hunting. Black powder rounds such as the 44 American, 44 Russian, 44 Colt, 4440 Winchester, and 45 Schofield all have a well-earned reputation, as well as the 44 Special. Very cool cartridge. I had the pleasure of shooting Jamie's, and it was definitely dead on, that's for sure. It was a great shooter. But at Republic Ammunition, I want to remind everybody that we do memberships. It's 100 beans a year, and you get free hazmat. And he has just started doing random drawings. So he puts all the names into a generator. Whatever name pops up, he sends out a gift to or a gift card. He's also doing member discounts and members-only sales on some items. And he picks what he's doing on that one. I have nothing to do with what he's picking. But it is a good deal to get. You get, like I said, free hazmat, and you get entered into a drawing once a month to win free stuff. But that's all I got for you tonight on What's Hot Pot Got.
Thanks, Gene. You know I love me some 44, brother.
Yes, I do. You got me looking at them now.
Man, they're just, 38s and 357s shoot really, really good. But that 44 Special especially, I mean, it's just.
Yep.
Well, now you can take your 44 mag brass and cut it down.
Yeah, but you can also load your 44 mag brass down to 44 special pressures and shoot it in the Magnum and not have that carbon ring in your cylinder.
Very true. Very true.
So you need
but if you got a 44 Special and you can't find brass for it, I mean, alternatives. Get the Dremel out. Be real careful with your cutting wheel. Make sure you go sideways on it. Not.
Don't do that. Just get you a lathe type trimmer and just be there for a while. Hook it up to your drill. And all right. Let me do this. I don't like doing this much, but I'll show y'all. This is the bullet they're talking about. This is the NOE 360. It's right at 200 grains, a little bit more, a little bit less. There we go. And I've got the flat pin in there, so it don't have a hollow point. And this is a new powder that I got. It's that is prismatic powders, seafoam green, and you can see that it's very spotty coverage. Yeah. But it's all coated. I mean, you can see the clear coat, but the pigment is spotty, which is not really a problem as long as it's coated. It don't look real great. But some of my bullets, it's 2-cavity mold, and one cavity turns out like that, and then the other one turns out like that, where it's got a slight hollow point in it. And I'm okay with that. I really am. I kind of wish it didn't do that, but it's an NOE mold that has a different type of hollow point system than the MP molds do. And you can see that's kind of some spotty coverage, but these shoot so good out of the 35 Remington, and I really want to be able to shoot them out of the 350 Legend, but I'm going to have to get me a bolt gun to be able to do that or do that work I've been talking about for months and months and months on that barrel. And I know Tommy Boy could feed his AR anything. He doesn't have those kind of problems. It already has, Dave. I love that that Lipsy exclusive, which is the one that I should probably show this. Yeah, I should probably show these pictures, shouldn't I? Are y'all familiar with revolverguy.com?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he has it spawned from his YouTube channel. Let me see if I can get this. Now, these are not Skeeter Skelton's guns. These are a revolver guy's guns, and he had these made to as a tribute to Skeeter Skelton. You can see that's the shooting times issue where Skeeter had passed away in the background, and a couple of his books, of the books that they produced. And so this right here is his Ruger Blackhawk 44 Special, and he's had a lot of work done on it. Mine's not near that fancy. He's got some scroll work's been added. The frame has been color case hardened. I don't think mine is like that, but the unique feature is the flat top. It's whereas most Blackhawks have the step down in the top of the frame there. This is a thicker, heavier frame. Excuse me. I might have some water. Those are not original Ruger Blackhawk sights. Those sights have been changed. But there's the two together. Those are
Smith
those
24.
are 3-person cross draw thumb with thumb strap. And the Black Hawk here has got the hammer thong. This one has the thumb strap. I think these are made by El Paso Leather. Yes, El Paso saddlery holsters for each of the two Skeeter Skelton tribute revolvers. One is a Smith & Wesson 624, and the other one is the Ruger Blackhawk. And these grips right here are not what came on this gun. These right here. This is the Smith & Wesson, and that's the Blackhawk. These are bird's eye maple grips that he had made for those. This is the Smith & Wesson. Notice the pencil thin barrel, but also notice the lug, which protects your the cradle and the ejection rod here. And the big thing about the Smith & Wesson, as Dave and I were talking the other night, we really like that ejection button there, the way it just pushes forward and all that. Some of the other makers do that in a different way. But all right, this Smith & Wesson is that's 75% coverage. There'll be some better pictures, and but there's a close up.
Sweet looking gun.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 624 stainless. There's a good look of the grips. Even got the scroll work on the bottom of the trigger guard, and the engraving's done by Gauss. It's classic American scroll style, and that's the plane. This is actually a picture from Skeeter's article in Shooting Times about the 44 Special. This is called the Circle T brand. That was Skeeter Skelton's brand when he owned his ranch, which didn't last long. And the Ruger Blackhawk, Lipsy's exclusive 44 Special, says in 2009, Lipsy contracted with Ruger to produce 1,000 Blackhawk single-action revolvers, 500 4 and 5/8 barrel and 500 5.5 barrels. And Skeeter had been on Bill Ruger to do that for a long time. And they made it on the older 357 frames, which if you read this article,
They were smaller.
they were smaller frames. See, what was happening is people were finding, Skeeter himself would find an older 357 first model Blackhawk and would have a gunsmith turn it into the 44 Special. And there, the Ruger also has the Circle T brand right there. And you can see the magazine in the back. They call it the Bar T brand on the grip frame. That's a good look at it. You can see that flat top better there. And mine has that exact writing on it. Don't have the scroll work. Turnbull restoration. And now for the grand prize. Check that out. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it is. That is so cool.
Old silverware box turned into presentation case. All right, thanks for indulging me. That's something I didn't know. There's Nutty 357. What's going on, buddy? El Paso saddlery is the stuff. Those ain't cheap, guys. What do you think about that Milsurp Duo?
Those are pretty cool. I'm not much of a old school revolver guy as far as like cowboy action. I'm more into of course, the military surplus revolvers, like the old Enfields and the Webleys and stuff like that.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Before we went live, Gene and I were looking at from Classic Firearms. They have some Zastavas M83s. You know anything about those?
Let me take a look real quick. Let me jump over there. You said M83s?
Yeah, it's a Zastava M83. And again,
Yeah, I've seen a little bit on those. I don't know a lot about them. I remember watching their video. That's basically Eastern Europe's Smith & Wesson Model 10 is what that one is. The Zastavas are. That's
well,
their design over there that basically you'd see most police departments carry over there. You'd see the Smith & Wesson Model 10 here, other models. It's just an all-around. I know a buddy that bought one, and he's loved it so far. So, especially for the price.
yeah, Model 10 is a LK frame, I think. I think in frame would be more like a 17 or a 19.
Yeah, I think you're right.
17's a 22. 19's a 57. But they're both Ks.
Are they?
Yeah. L was the improved K. It's a little bit longer for 357 mag. And the N's, of course, are the big ones. And then, well, bigger now is the X. X is the biggest one. Get over there. These are my nuts, not yours. No.
Don't you ever feed that poor pup?
You wouldn't think so.
You guys are sending me a lot of cool stuff.
You don't get cashews, no.
Here's an interesting round I'll show off to you guys. Something I'm actually getting ready to start reloading. So it is what's known as 11 millimeter Mauser.
Hold on a sec. There you go.
So it's kind of interesting. It's got I don't know what's going to show up. It's got an A base. Let me see if I can change my dang camera settings. There we go. Might turn better. There's an A base on the rim, so I'm going to have to do some either turning of the brass that I'm going to be using or do the O-ring method. So I haven't figured out what I'm going to do. It's for the old German 7184 Mausers. So yeah, I'll be taking 4590 brass to make this. So
Wow, interesting piece. Yeah.
yeah, because round was designed in 1871. This one's dated 1887 is when this round was made.
Goodness gracious.
Were you thinking the 27, Jamie? That's an
Yeah,
end
I was
frame.
thinking of the 27.
That's an end frame 357.
Right. So, yeah, it would be more like what it looks like to me is it's not really as big as an L or a K frame, but it's a nice looking gun. Yeah, that's what I knew that name Zastava from, is they make a lot of SKSs or made a lot of SKSs.
Yeah, they're making it AKs now.
Yeah.
That's what they're known for.
They make some good equipment. They make some nice stuff. I kind of equate them to not quite maybe a notch behind, but I equate them to FN Fabrique Nationale in Belgium. Somebody was wanting to know about them the other day, and that's the only way I knew how to describe them. They're like Eastern Europe's Colt.
Yep.
If that makes any sense. They do mostly government contract work and then do some civilian manufacturing. And whereas Fabrique Nationale would be Europe's Colt.
Yeah, because the Stav, I believe, was found in the mid 1850s, if I'm not mistaken. Is when they opened their doors.
That's pretty cool.
Let's see. Yep, 1853 is when they were founded.
That's a good looking. I got 2 pictures from G23. That is a very nice looking SKS, man. The wood is excellent. You should be proud of that. Obviously, you are. You sent me a couple pictures. Rebel has sent me some links to Jelly Bryce. I guess we're going to have to cover him after we do. I was wanting to show these. Let me do this email.
I don't think they ever made the Remington rolling block in 11 millimeter Mauser. They made 11 Gra. Pull up my list of calibers for that because they made it in like 35 different calibers.
Garage guy sent me some pictures of the
These are my
Taurus
doors.
Model 44
Go lay down.
with a 6.5-inch barrel, 6-round capacity. That's awesome. That side on the back of it's wild. Okay, so I guess it's time for good night, Bulldog.
Good night, Senior Master Sergeant Bulldog.
Yeah, we got to show them all. Okay, it's time for our verse of the week, and this will probably wrap up our Proverbs series, and I'm just going to share with y'all probably the most familiar passage. Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Verses 7 and 8. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. It will be health to your flesh and strength to your bones. What we see here, let's go back to this one. This is Solomon is addressing his son. And when that word trust there, trust in the Lord. Solomon had found that God was worthy to be trusted, and that's not in our nature, is to trust in something or someone. Sometimes we even have trouble trusting ourselves, but Solomon tells us that we should make that choice to trust God. Warren Wiersbe, very famous Baptist type preacher like me, he believes like I do. Not that I'm a Baptist preacher or anything like that. He says that the word translated trust there means to lie helpless face down. In other words, you're completely surrendered. It's like a defeated soldier yielding himself to the conquering general, or a servant. It pictures a servant waiting for the master's command in readiness to obey. And of course, we know what all your heart means. The trust in God's to be complete, to be not up for discussion. You have already made that decision, so you know what you're going to do when that situation arises. Is we're going to trust God, and we're going to let Him take control. So again, it's Solomon talking to his son. So in all your ways acknowledge Him. That means in everything we do, it's that choice that we make to invite God into our everyday life, and not just in our everyday life, but the way we conduct ourselves. It's like all that we do, everything we do is knowing that He's there, like we're in His presence all the time. And that's hard for us to do. And if we can acknowledge Him in all our ways, He'll direct our paths. It's like if you're done any computer programming, it's an if-then statement. So if we acknowledge Him, He will direct our paths in the fulfillment of His will and to what's right before Him and hopefully pleasing to us. If it's not pleasing to us, then we need to change our point of view, because He's not going to change His. And I think this is pretty self-explanatory. Don't be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord, and depart from evil. Now, what we're talking about fear here, in this sense, is not that cowering, like a little puppy dog, like you saw. We all saw CW's dog come up and love on him when he got home. That's what we're talking about. Fear here is love for God and awe and respect, not that cowering down like you see a puppy when his master beats on him all the time. God don't do us like that. He don't expect us to act like that. He wants us to love Him, and He wants to show us His love. And if we can do that, it'll be health to our flesh and strength to our bones. We're going to live a long time. He's going to take care of us, and we can certainly take that to the bank. Questions or comments?
Words to live by.
Agreed. And as you said, this one's, he's not camouflaging anything in words here. He's just lays it straight out. There's hardly any way you can misinterpret what he's talking about. And so, it's right there. Follow the right path. You're good to go.
Yeah. What great advice to give a son or a daughter.
What we another way we can look at it is praising God for recording these words in his love letter to us in that same sense of a man instructing his son how he should carry on his life, and God has saw fit to preserve that word for what 4,000 years now, close to it.
Yeah. And I was always told, like in this verse here, fear, like you said, is not a cowardly fear. The way it was explained to me is fear of disappointing. And I know we all had somebody in our life that we did not want to disappoint, not because of being scared of that person. It's just we didn't want to let them down, and that's how I was always taught to interpret that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Independent Arms says complete submission. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hasbro says the guarantee isn't for our physical bodies, but our spiritual ones. I believe it's for both. I think it is for our physical bodies in this life, but what is much more important, Hasbro, is our spiritual life, is our spiritual bodies. And just think, man, we're going to get a new one, Hasbro, and it's going to be incorruptible. That's the great thing. That's one of the things that we can rest assured of. And Hasbro kind of cuts to the quick, doesn't he? I've never done anything worthwhile by being wise in my own eyes. Preach it, brother.
Yep.
And thank y'all for indulging me with the verse of the week. I know I just won't go there. I appreciate y'all listening. And Nutty 357 says them dogs going to get them rebels tomorrow. I sure do hope so. Going to be a big game. We got lots of big games tomorrow. We've got Miami coming to Atlanta, play Georgia Tech on the flats. We got Alabama's going to play LSU in Death Valley in Baton Rouge. And we have our dogs going to play Ole Miss in the Grove. So afternoon game for the dogs, 3:30. I'm glad it's not a 12 o'clock game. That Alabama LSU is a night game. I'm sitting here thinking, and me and my supervisor, we're sitting there talking about next year. We're going to pick games and kind of keep track of how we do and see who wins. And I guess the loser buys supper for I take our wives with us, and the loser has to pick up the tab. I think that'd be a fun thing. But yeah, I picked LSU to win tomorrow night against Atlanta, against the Falcons. I got my son on my mind. He's a big time Atlanta Falcons fan, but I picked LSU to win that game by 3 to 7 points, single digits, and the reason I did is like, how can you honestly pick against LSU in Death Valley at night? How can you pick against LSU in a night game at home? And then I got thinking this morning, I'm like, when is it ever smart to pick against Alabama. I mean, ever. I don't care if they're having the worst year in 10 years. How can you really pick against Alabama to lose a football game? So, with that being said, I still. And Bama, Dad. That's what we love about Alabama fans. They're so humble. It won't be the first time we beat the snot out of LSU. Hopefully, it won't be the last, Bama, Dad. You know, Bama, Dad, that game against Texas A&M, it really shocked me what A&M did to LSU in the second half of that football game. LSU was winning halfway through the third quarter. There's West Covina Dodge.
Hey, Pat.
And let's see. That game shocked me too, Nutty. I didn't see Ole Miss beating up on Arkansas that bad. There's Dale Pogue. What's up, buddy? And Mike Hester, the Rebel. I appreciate you appreciating the verse of the week, buddy. But yeah, lots of good things going on in the world of college football. Millsap, are you a football fan?
I am. My team doesn't play this week. We have a bye.
Who's your team?
I am a University of Nebraska fan.
Good deal.
We've had some struggles the last 10 years. So
What type pro do y'all?
I'm a Chiefs fan.
Most of y'all are. Hillbilly is too.
Yeah,
They're
he lives in
undefeated, right?
Kansas City, so gotta be.
Yeah, they're undefeated. I mean, it's kind of easy to be a Kansas City Chief fan right now.
Well, it's not easy. We've had some scary moments where we could be like 3-7, or no, well, what's we 8 now? 3-5 if 3 plays didn't go right. It's been a crazy year.
No doubt. It was a rough 50 years though before we got to this point.
I've been a Chiefs fan my whole life. It's even though growing up in Illinois, my uncles always lived here in the Kansas City area, so it was always one of those things. I've always rooted for KC on that front.
I hope so, buddy.
That is awesome, man. I can't believe we took our country back. And if y'all looked at the dang map, the red and the blue map, I mean, it's not even close, guys, really.
Yeah, when they break it down by counties, wow.
Yeah, when you do that, it's Nutty 357. The Hogs are going to beat Texas. I'd love to see that.
Me too.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, we yell silly around here, even though we're in Missouri.
Yeah, I think Georgia exposed Texas, and you seen what they did to us. I mean, one year when Georgia played Auburn, Bama Dad would get a kick out of this. I know he remembers it. We beat Auburn in Auburn, and one of their receivers went over and tried to pet Uga on the sideline, and Uga jumped at him and tried to bite him, but his handlers kept him off, and the receivers jumping up there. And then after the game, the Georgia fans rushed the field, and they turned the fire hoses on Georgia fans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was ugly.
Not wrong.
I can imagine, buddy. Good night, Ron. 2A matters. Can y'all imagine being in the gun business trying to make a living under these
Oh boy,
liberal?
yeah.
Yeah, I worked in a gun store for 10 years and I saw both sides. Of course, the Trump years, the first time, and of course, the Biden years. It was so different. That's nothing. I was born, of course, I was born in 96. So by the time I was born, the Sullivan's ban had already happened and been taking place. And by the time it was over, I was only 8 years old. So don't really remember that much about that one. So I was going into this. I'm like, ooh, I've never had to live it. So I'm not excited for it. Yeah, I'm hoping we can get primers and powder to go back down in price. I know that's one thing.
Yeah, there's no guarantee though.
No, that's true. I know that's one thing on our reloading podcast. When we go to SHOT Show here in January, we're going to start talking to all the companies. Say, hey, when are we getting down in price?
The only way the price falls on something is when people don't buy it. Hate
That's
to
true.
say that, but
and you're already seeing it. Like I was looking at Republic earlier, and prices are already going down to where they're starting to get affordable.
Good.
Yeah, we need some. And I know they're never going to go down to what they were pre-pandemic, but dang it, man. I hope they don't get drafted guns and waters. I don't see that happening. That's ridiculous, Tommy boy. But that's the way the ATF rules, dude.
And they are bad right now. I'm working on trying to get my CNR FFL expired at the end of the month, and I sent it in 2 weeks before the end of the month. Still haven't received my new copy yet. So, if I don't get anything tomorrow, first thing Monday morning, they're getting a phone call.
Well, there you go. Yeah, we need these wars to slow up, and I believe they will now that Mr. Trump's going back in office.
He did say he's going to move a lot of government agencies, not only cut them down, but move them out of Virginia across the country.
Well, I'm hoping for less than that, Mike. I would like to see between $65 and $50 for a brick of 1,000. I think we could all live like that.
Yeah, I've been seeing them under $70.
Yeah, well, $129 for 1,000 primers is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I've never bought any at that price, and I won't. So,
I was buying them for years during the pandemic and all that for under $50, but now just in the last 2 months, the local places have dried up here, and now when their new stock came in, it's all over $85, $90. I'm like, I'm not paying that.
yeah, I think the ATF needs to be cut down to size. I see no use at all for a federal Department of Education. That's the job of the states.
Right.
And
Agreed.
all these people that are all these people that are hollering about reproductive rights and all that crap, we're not arguing that. I mean, that is just all they want is it not to be federally controlled. And yeah,
Well, who said it? You know, alcohol is legal, tobacco is legal, and firearms are legal. So what is the ATF for?
to regulate them. There's
Another
Martin.
redundant department.
Absolutely.
I am so excited. I know we don't talk politics, but I'm so excited to see what Elon comes up with.
Oh, I know. Elon.
So excited.
If he does a lot, like with what I do for work, I do solar farm stuff. So I'm excited to see where we go as far as my company I work for.
He's going to be ruthless if he's allowed to.
Heck yeah, man.
Well, that's one thing Trump said with Kennedy Jr. He's like, you go do all you want. Just stay away from my oil. You go do all you want on the health side, which I'm for. There is a ton of junk that doesn't need to be in our food.
That's right. You kind of all about tax and control.
Yep.
And Bama Dad, I was not aware that the president of Ukraine got voted out. If that's what happened. Anyway, we got to start going through the room. We always let American Hillbilly go first because he needs to get over and help out with Gizzard Gary. So, what you got coming up, Hillbilly?
Oh man! First of all, I want to thank you for letting me be here and such a great panel and side chat. I always have a blast here. You know, starting off the weekend. Tomorrow night, we got Guns Bearing Therapy, 9:00 Central, 10:00 Eastern, and we are going to have a special guest. And it's going to be a lot of fun, especially
Trump.
Pardon?
Trump.
Oh man, no, it is not going to be him. But if you like targets and stuff, we have oh man, my mind went blank.
If we
Doggone
like
it.
targets.
Yeah, shooting targets. I don't know why my mind just went blank. But is it? Anyway, I really apologize to Mark. He's the owner there because I can't believe I just went blank. But he handles a lot of really nice, affordable steel targets and stuff. And he's the one that donated the targets for Hasbro's Hammer Time challenge. And so, a real great guy. And we're going to be having him on along with Hasbro and stuff. And so, looking for a fun evening. And so, other than that, just got some videos coming out here and there. And appreciate you all so much for having me.
Thanks for being here, brother. Looking forward to it. You got my curiosity aroused. Milsurp Duo, what you got coming up, buddy? I know you're going to be nursing that hand, and I hope it feels better.
Yeah, thanks again for that. But nothing right now. I'm hopefully going to be joining a big gun club here in the KC area here in the next 2-3 months. So once I get in there, I'll be able to start going and doing more videos. Then hopefully my father gets moved over here. Him and my mom are looking at moving over here to the Kansas City area as well. So him get back over here. It's hard for us to do videos together when we're 5 hours away from each other. So other than that, yeah, thanks for letting me on again. And check us out on our podcast Tuesday nights, 7 Central, over at the Reloading Podcast on YouTube. So we always got interesting things going on there. We got some interesting topics coming up here soon. I know one's like paper patching for old bullets and stuff like that. So that's a cool topic we got coming up. And so then we're gonna have SHOT Show coverage again, and we're actually gonna have quite a few of our hosts out there. I think we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us out there this year, so we're going to be able to get a ton of coverage at SHOT Show this coming year. But thanks again for having me on.
Well, you're welcome anytime, buddy. Thanks for being here. Mr. Walter, what you got coming up?
Well, again, first of all, thanks for the invitation to be here and take part. I'm only here because I wanted to see Ellie starring on TV.
I just gave you a nut.
And she is a nut, you know it. So we got I got my 3 series going on right now. We got Moldy Monday fired up again. We got Wad Cutter Wednesday, and we got Free the Few Friday. And mostly all of that's over on Rumble. The Wad Cutter Wednesday, I had said I was going to do all of the 38 wad cutters first, but I'm getting bored doing 38 wad cutters. So I got the one that Andy sent me. We're going to do that here this week, but then I'm going to do some 41 and 44 and 45 caliber wad cutters and start throwing those in and mixing them up. The 38s, there's so many of them. I think I've got 14 different molds for 38 special wad cutters, and it's boring me already to do the videos on them. So we're going to throw some other spice in there here pretty soon. So anyway, that's what's going on over here at Casa de Viejo. We got a couple range days coming up next week and some socializings and normal Viejo lifestyle, here on the blue coast of California. Gosh. So anyway, that's what we got going on here. Mr. Hot Pot, are you live over there? Knock, knock. There he is.
I'm still alive and well, just sitting back listening. Thanks for the education there, Jamie. Man, I really appreciate it. I always love learning something new, whether it's old things I've never heard about or new things that are just coming about. But, the election went so good. Yes.
Yes.
I did not watch any of it. I went to bed. I just got up in the morning and it was just, I wanted the surprise. And what a surprise I got, man. So happy. Thanks for having me on tonight. I really appreciate it. Love coming on every Friday night. Hope everybody enjoyed What's Hot Pot Got. And that's about all I got, except always remember to tip your bartenders and waitresses. It's only once around the ride, so always remember to keep blowing the smoke.
Hey,
By the way, I do have a new little mini series coming out involving Wilson Combat.
That'd be interesting.
And if you tip those bartenders and waitresses, then aren't going to be taxed on it.
That's right. They get to keep it.
When you get my age, the fact that Social Security is not going to be taxed is a pretty awesome thing. So there's that. All right, where are we at? CW, what you got coming up, bud? Thanks for being here.
I got a few things coming up, and we got a couple of events coming up that we all need to remember about. We got the Marines are having a birthday coming up. We got Veterans Day coming up. And we also got my birthday coming up, but that's the littler one. I want to thank everybody for being in the side chat. I want to thank everybody on the panel. As always, a really good time. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody in the side chat. Thanks for all the questions and activity. Always, we're here for you guys, and you certainly drive the panel, so that's a good thing. I've got a couple of videos coming up. I did a couple of videos today. Yesterday. And I got another muzzleloader video coming up in a couple days. I've got another video on my Chipmunk pistol. And I finally shoot the 22 hammer video for Hasbro. I think it's the 22. I've shot a couple of them. I'm just trying to think which one is posting. I think it's the 22 one is going to post. And going to be a good time. So just want to thank everybody, and remember those things that are coming up. They're kind of important. And Jamie, what about you? What do you got coming up?
I am thinking about deer hunting a lot lately. Got some time off next week. I hope to be able to be in the woods some. I hope to get some videos done. I got so many videos I want to make, and I just don't have time right now. Y'all remember that I have a daughter and granddaughter living in my home now. So I'm always, Daddy, will you do this? And Papa, will you do that? And I'm like, remember, your time is your greatest asset. The good Lord allots you only so much of it, and you don't know how much that is. Live every minute with all the gusto you can muster. And remember the verse of the week. We hope y'all find somewhere to go to church this Sunday. And we hope the Lord blesses y'all real good. You guys on the panel, thank y'all so much for all you do for our chat. I appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you. I love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. And go dogs. And if the Lord's willing, we'll see you next Friday night at 8 o'clock. Say good night, y'all.
God bless
Good night,
everyone.
y'all.